Today's podcast is sponsored by Plow Right Marking Stakes.
With the shorter days upon us and winter rapidly approaching, now is the best time to prepare your business for the busy snow season. Before you rush out the door to plow the first ounce of white gold, ensure a safe and successful evening on your sites with adequate site marking from PlowRight. PlowRight offers high-quality marking stakes that are flexible enough to spring back up through the toughest of conditions winter has to offer. Mark out your property lines, curbs, trip edge areas, and more with the best marking stakes in the industry. PlowRight marking stakes come in all lengths and colors to give you the best choice in marking stakes for your sites. Lay up to 350 stakes per hour with the integrated staking tool and quiver kit for the ultimate starter combo, and refill with additional stakes as you see fit. Check out everything that PlowRight has to offer and more at plow-right.com. Link is in the description. And don't forget, Brian's 10 saves 10% off everything site-wide. Thanks for your support, and have a safe, profitable snow season.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, today I wanted to share with you an excerpt that we are taking from our Link Live coaching call that we did with one of our big dog guests, and that is my man, Ken Deemer, over there at Local Roots. Had one of the best live streams we've ever had. I'm not even just saying it. I'm just telling you, it was such a great, encouraging conversation. Kenneth had so many great things to share, so much great wisdom and perspective on how to grow a larger company. And again, all the conversations were, hey man, I got a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 business or $1 million business. We're looking to scale and grow to 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. How do we get there along the way? And those were a lot of the conversations, part of the Link Live group, which is our private Facebook group. You guys just heard me talking about it potentially a couple of days ago. A couple hundred members. The thing's growing every single day. Super appreciate the love and the support, and love building community with you guys. Well, if you guys want to see what's in Link, and of course, this is just a small snippet, a small excerpt, okay? Every month we get a great guest on, just like Kenneth is going to be sharing from here. We've got 12 or 13 replays just like it, because Link is now 1 year old. Every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. The other 3 weeks a month, you get myself. I know, sorry. Maybe that'll take away from value of the group. Just having fun. But no, we do bidding weeks and coaching call weeks, FAQ weeks, and hangout sessions, and just kind of hang out, build community. But it's a great, great, great time. And so anyway, just wanted to put a little bit of bumper on this thing. Super appreciate Kenneth serving us. None of these guys get paid to do this. They're all just volunteering their time. I'm always like, hey, how can I share about what you have going on or promote anything that you have going on? And again, all these guys are just serving. They're just giving back, and they're just pouring into a hungry group and a hungry audience that is trying to grow. So I invite you guys to check out Local Roots on Instagram. Invite you guys to check out Forward Coaching. That's Pat Murray and Ken Deemer. That's their peer group and mentorship program that they have. I invite you guys to, say hey to Pat or Ken if you see them at Hardscape North America. They run a lot of the training there. They have been to the Hardscape Academy with the Almonds. Just really, really good dudes, and they're very, very active in the community. And I hope you guys get to know them a whole lot more. And maybe, just maybe, if calendars work out, maybe we can get them back for LAL next year, and they can circle back and run it back and do another speech for us, because they did such a phenomenal job and had a lot of great feedback from these guys. So all things being said, just want to put a little bumper on there. Before we jump on into it, you guys have been hearing the sales. They are here. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We've got promo code SAVE30, which saves 30% on everything site-wide at launchpreneuracademy.com. Thank you guys for your purchases. Thank you guys for the support. That is the number one way you can support everything that we do. Affiliates and codes and all that mess, that's fine. That's cool. We earn a small kickback, but we keep the house when you guys buy our own stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So super appreciate you guys that have picked up snow contracts, long contracts, postcard designs, the whole ball of wax, all that fun stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then, so last but not least, I'll say is the whole ball of wax is now $400 off. That is the only sale we do of the year. That is the best sale that we do of the year. And that gets you everything on the website which is normally $1,500. It's $400 off, which is a phenomenal deal. But you get access to everything on the website, which is like a la carte. I think we added it up one time. It was like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of documents and resources. Okay. So it's an absolute steal. If you guys are looking to go all in, if you guys are looking to grow, if you guys are looking to get all the documents, all the resources and everything that we use in our actual business to put this thing together, that is what the whole ball of wax is all about. So check that out. That sale's going through actually through Christmas, but the promo code SAVE30 on all the documents and resources is only through Black Friday and Cyber Monday. All right. So that's where we're going to leave it right now. I'm going to kick it over to Mr. Producer so he can take it away. We're going to hear that excerpt from the Link Facebook group. If you guys want to join Link, we'll leave a link in the description. You guys can check that out. And we hope to see you guys on the next Wednesday live stream. So Kenneth, Mr. Producer, let's take it away.
Well, look, I'll lead by saying thank you, Brian. I mean, it's been really cool getting to know you and just the awesome circle of hungry people that come with that. So it's always just fun to be a part of, and the energy is infectious. Both yours and like being at LAL particularly was just like that place hums, dude. Like it is, it's a good energy. So it's super fun to be around. And no one is, I think the thing that stood out to me the most about that group is no one's putting on. Like there's no, coming from some other events in the industry, it can be really just like, golly, it's honestly exhausting. It's just like one big flex, like from everybody all the time. And it's like, oh, it feels real. It can get to feeling fake sometimes. And it's like, what are we even doing here? So that's what I love about, I think what you've created, but at the end of the day, it doesn't exist without the people that are part of it. So just that vibe and energy was really, really cool at LAL. Just a bunch of people, like no one thinks they're better than anyone else. And just like, they're all there to learn and grow, which has been exciting. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. Yeah.
100%. By the way, you guys did a phenomenal job. So both you and Pat, round of applause for sure, man. So great job. I'm not just saying that, like great vibes for sure. You guys just added to it, man. So that was awesome. So thank you. Thank you. Back at you.
Thanks. So I'll give kind of my quick backstory here. And I'll run us up to today. So my name's Ken. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and raised. Never thought I would land back here. I think most people who grow up in like, especially like industrial towns like Pittsburgh, where it's like, man, we're getting out of here. And I tried, believe me, like I really tried. I went to school in Chicago. I lived in Colorado, I was in Australia, tried twice Australia. I had plane tickets booked to Hawaii, just couldn't get away from Pittsburgh for whatever reason. Just the gravitational pull brought me back here. And then I always used the phrase, for years, I've used the phrase that I accidentally started a landscape company, but it may be accident by me, but it's become really clear over time that that's definitely God's plan for my life was for me to be here. So started out just like I'm sure a lot of y'all did, out of the back of a Honda Civic, just mowing lawns, just trying to kind of wait for the next step in life is what it felt like at the time. And it just kind of blew up in our hands in a good way. So we spent the first probably 6 to 8 months, just almost, it felt like every time we were out, people were, flagging us down and be like, hey, can you guys, can you add another lawn in this neighborhood, or can you do this project, or can you do whatever? And at first it was really fun and really exciting, but it pretty quickly got to a spot where it's like, holy crap, like we can't do this we had a clapped out Toyota Tacoma at the time, a little green wooden trailer that I resurrected from my parents' backyard. And we kind of rebuilt and got on the road. And we were using like the best homeowner equipment money could buy. But I mean, we were putting like 3 lifetimes of use on those things every week. So it was just destruction nation on the old Honda mowers. So we got to kind of an inflection, like a point where, hey, are we doing this or not? And we kind of had that discussion, Patrick and I. The problem was we had no money. So Patrick was with me. Patrick is my business partner at Local Roots, and his mom, who's a bit of a worrywart, gave him a credit card, one of her credit cards, before we left for Australia the first time. And it had a $15,000 limit on it. And it was just like a card for emergencies. So we got back, Patrick put it in his sock drawer, never thought anything about it again. And then we were sitting there in his house, kind of like, what do we do? And then Patrick's like, well, I do have this credit card with the $15,000 limit on it. So we kind of committed a bit of fraud, took his mom's credit card, bought everything we needed. So we bought a couple used mowers, got a trailer, just kind of got on the road. Then, of course, we paid it off in 2 or 3 months as we were working. But that was really the starting point for us. And then we just grew from there. So
wow.
It started off just on the lawn side of things. And I mean, dude, we crushed it the first year. We grossed 52 grand between the two of us, just dominated it. Right. So, I mean, I think we both probably took home about $10,000 in the first year. But for some reason we thought that was good and kept on going. And it was definitely a really, I call those, I oscillate back and forth. Sometimes I call them the blunt force trauma years, because that's what they were, just like banging your head through a wall, just keep on making it work and making it work. But yeah, they were, another way I refer to them as the headlamp years, because they were the time where I wake up, put on my headlamp in the dark, get everything ready, go all day long, finish the last lawn with a headlamp, go unload the trailer, and be done for the day. So it was pretty rough. And then we made some really substantive decisions in life and just kind of changed fundamentally through, honestly, a lot of pain. There were a lot of really painful experiences that happened, and like that way of living, that blunt force trauma, dark to dark way of living kind of created a pretty strong catalyst to change. And it got to a point where we were pretty much ready to walk away from the business if something didn't change. So ultimately we made a lot of changes, and I'm sure we can get into some of that here tonight. But then the business really transformed into something that, the way we talk about it is it changed from something that kind of owned us. Like we hardly even owned a job. We were owned. Like there's business ownership, then you can own a job, then you can be owned by the job. And we were definitely in the owned by the job. But then over the years, we were kind of able to transition that from being owned by the job to really transitioning to business owners and understanding what it looks like to build a business as an investment, and using a business as a tool rather than just getting thrown through the washing machine every single day. And yeah, it's been a wild ride since. We almost got rid of maintenance altogether. They're kind of in the design build boom of 2020. We were highly considering getting rid of maintenance. We kept it along. It kind of scaled in spite of us. And now we are we're about an $8 million company, 8.5, heading to 11 next year, Lord willing. And we're split about 50-50 between maintenance and install department. So I run the business with my business partner, Patrick, who I mentioned a couple of times, childhood best friend. And then we actually have a second partner who joined us last year, he joined us as part of an acquisition. We acquired his company last year, and he runs all the operations side of things. So I am sales, business development, design side. Patrick is people, so kind of like HR, hiring, and finances. And then Rob runs all things production. So that's kind of the way that the partnership shakes. It hasn't been all glamour. I hope you got that from that quick little kind of run through story. It definitely hasn't been all glamour. It's been really painful, but really gratifying and really fulfilling journey. And as part of that, we launched last year, a coaching program called Forward. And that's what we now do kind of alongside our roles at Local Roots. So we've been able to, I think we have a lot of people that run kind of in similar circles between you and I, Brian. So it was fun to link up with some of our coaching clients at LAL. And we met a lot of cool people at LAL actually, who are now our coaching clients as well. So it's been a really fulfilling, kind of gratifying way for us to give back and share. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. I'm 35, got an amazing wife, 3 little kids, one of which was just born in the summer. So it's been it's a wild ride, but a real good one. Yeah,
dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. And thanks for the humble growth curve and the humble brag, and just a little bit of context really helps folks get to know you guys a little bit more. I know, again, some folks saw you on the spring shop tour. Some folks saw you, of course, at Entrepreneur Academy, which is great. But it's just really cool to see you guys unpackage like that whole story. And like you said, the highs, the lows, and almost everything else in between. Amen. So
yeah.
I love it. Well, let me tee up this first question here, because this is actually one of the first questions that I had.
Yeah.
It's from Kyle Hanna. He said, how long has it taken you to grow the business to 8 million? And maybe if I could just even ask for some more context, like what does the last 10 years look like? Like what was that whole growth story, if you don't mind me asking? Because you guys have grown pretty well. And then maybe even some setbacks from what I kind of understand. So I'd love to just hear like that whole lineage, if you will, the last maybe decade or whatnot.
Totally. So I mentioned earlier that Patrick is the finance and numbers guy. So I'm going to be giving round numbers. Okay.
I got you.
To the best of my recollection. So what has the growth looked like? And then I'll give kind of like the story, like the parallel story running behind what the company was like at the time. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect.
Cool. So like I said, we did 52 grand the first year, which was obviously looking back on it, we should have walked away. We were not too far behind from year one.
I mean, you can only cut so much grass with push mowers. Let's be fair. So 52 grand with 21-inch push mowers is actually pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, we're in year 10 of business. Okay. So we just finished our 10th year. We're heading into our 11th year this upcoming year. So we really, through the blunt force trauma years, we really stalled out around the 650, 750 mark. And we were there for about 5 years is where we kind of got up to the 0 to 650 mark in 5 years. And we did it just by doing more. Nothing scaled, everything grew horizontally. Nothing grew vertically, if that makes sense. So like, yes, we were doing more, but it was all kind of going back to one source. And that was one of the owners. So if any new initiative was happening, if more work was going to happen, we definitely made some gains with efficiency by mechanizing certain things. But I would say there was principal fear of two things. One was spending money, and one, I wouldn't even say fear. There was we had a mistaken belief, like internally. So I think one was really fear driven, and that was finances. We were really afraid to take on any payments. Just scared the crap out of us. So
were you guys like a Dave Ramsey subscriber? Were you just like,
no,
we don't have any credit? Like what were you guys thinking? You're young,
no,
maybe?
It was, I think it's just coming from, high school, college, you just don't make purchases. Like you just don't buy things for $80,000. And
totally get it.
I think it was also, the business was just kind of bludgeoning us over the head all the time. And that felt like a lot of a commitment. So my wife's from California, and early on, we were really heavily toying with the idea of moving back to California. So I think there was kind of just a lot of uncertainty, and we weren't really committed. So the thought of a payment, like the thought of buying an excavator, was like one of our big holdups, or buying like a true like fleet of zero turns. We had one stand-on mower, but you can only do so much with that. So I think that was part of it, was just the fear of spending and kind of in turn committing. And the other was a fear of building a team. And Patrick shared about this at LAL, but even just a belief that we could build a team. Like that we could build a place where people would really want to land, build a place where people would really want to come and be a part of what's happening here. So I think we carried a lot of head trash for the first couple of years. And I think at the end of the day, those were the things that limited us the most. We got to, so again, I'd say between kind of spending and making like actual good, sound financial decisions for the company, we were too afraid to make those decisions. I'm not saying go out and just buy whatever you want, but we were doing $50,000, $60,000 hardscape jobs and renting an excavator for 2 months at a time for one project. And it's like, dude, at some point you just got to, commit. So between the people and the equipment, that was really slowing us down. And just, I think we carried some pretty toxic beliefs as well around like, no one can do it like we can. I shared some of this at LAL, just like I wouldn't trust anyone to do anything, like, especially when it came to dealing with clients, or like I'd have my special clients or my special accounts. And it's just like, no, like I'm the guy who's going to make this right for them. So it just really slowed us down a lot. We got to a point where that took a really heavy toll on both of us. And at about the 5 or 6 year mark, which is 4 or 5 years ago at this point, we got to a point where we were like, hey, I'm ready to walk away from this. Like the way we're living right now just stinks and we hate it.
Wow.
And we don't really want to be a part of it. So we had a company that was effectively of no value. So it was pretty much like we could just walk away and move on with our lives. And we got to that point where when we got there, it was kind of a spot also where it's like, okay, well, hey, if we're at the point where we're willing to walk away, like from everything we've built, we might as well try anything. And then I think, unfortunately, that's what it took, was us getting to that point. But that was kind of the catalyzing agent for us to then say, like, all right, let's actually go in on this. Let's start trusting some of these things that we've heard from business professionals, right?
If you don't mind me interrupting, where were you guys at revenue wise? Because I feel like that middle, I call it no man's land, and sometimes it's $500,000 to $2 million. For some guys, it's 1 to 5. I mean, I've heard everybody's. The more stories I hear, it's we always say like it's lonely in business, and you realize like you're not the only one out there that might be struggling with this. And it doesn't matter if it's $300,000 or $3 million. So if you don't mind me asking, where were you guys at on this, revenue journey or team size or whatnot?
The year that really did it to us, it was a year range of, I would say, kind of like a end of year to end of year. We ended at 685. And then we had like a big push because we kind of thought like, let's get over this hurdle and that'll get us to freedom, which wasn't the case. And that took us to just shy of $1 million.
Okay, cool.
So it was then the following year, we did 1.8, and it was the easiest year of business we'd ever had. That was the year we hired a coach. That was the year we really started focusing on like being super aggressive with our time blocking. And it made all the difference in the world. That's the year we really started building a team, getting people around us who were passionate about what we were passionate about, investing in equipment, investing in business development, investing in ourselves. And then it was really logarithmic from there. So it was 1.8, 3.6, 5.4, 6.3, went up. We actually went up 7.6. So it was 6 years, 7.6. Last year went backwards a little bit. Had some operational problems, particularly on the install side of the company, and then bounced back again this year.
Wow. That's crazy. Yep. That's a wild ride. I've heard so many people say, even Mark Bradley, right? He's saying like, sometimes it takes quite a while just to get from 0 to $1 million. Then you can get those systems in place. And, sometimes you hear people say, well, then we grew from 1 million to 2 and 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. And, it's easier to grow from 1 to 10 than it was to go from 0 to 1. I'm infatuated with that whole middle story. You know what I mean? So that's incredible. Wow. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so true. Once you get the word scale is thrown away, like it's thrown around so much, but it's really what it is. You get to a point where you have kind of like this minimum viable product. Like if I looked at our company at 600, it's like there's nothing there to scale. Like there's not, you're at capacity. You're bumping your head off the ceiling all the time because of the way that it's structured and set up. But then when you actually have a company that is like, hey, this is ready to scale, that's when it's like, dude, for sure you're going to have to adjust things. You're going to have to steer as you go and keep your eyes on the prize. And what your systems look like at 1 to 4 are not going to be how they look from 4 to 8. I promise you that. But you understand the concept and you know how to fix things and you know what it takes to get you where you're going. And I think there's really true words that I really do believe 0 to $1 million, brutal, just kills you. 1 to 10, also brutal and kills you, but a little less.
Yeah. Mark, the last 2 days of the seminar, I'm telling you what, like I told Liz, goes, what do you think? I just finally got home and literally caught up with her today. I got in about 1 o'clock in the morning, up at 6. The guys were over at 8. We did training until about 3. We're around doing 100 things this afternoon. And we're putting up a Christmas tree. And Liz goes, so what did you think about Mark? And I'm like, the most impactful 2-day seminar I've ever been to in my entire life, all success combined. She's like, that's a pretty big statement. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it was that good. And everything you're just talking about was basically day 2, talking about literally the whole ball of wax of like scaling a company from 0 to 50 million and Mark just giving the whole game plan. I mean, what a lobotomy. So I know you're coming to Detroit. I can't wait to pick your brain after. And you're like, yep, that was us. This is us. Here's us now. And, I can't wait to see myself go through this process, hear you share more about it as well. So, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let me do this. I got a couple questions popping in, a lot of great questions coming in.
Yeah.
Do you want to pivot on a couple of these? Can we
sure.
tee up a couple today? Here we go.
Rock and roll.
Let's see. And again, I think with like Mark Bradley, we got like 3 questions in, and then Sam Gamble was like rapid fire. So whatever style works. There's about 38 to 45 people hopping in and out of the chat. So here we go. What are some steps one should take at 300 grand in revenue going forward? Systems, personal, just business building in general. Do you have any suggestions for somebody at a 300 grand a year business?
Yeah. 2 things. I mean, look, there's a lot to the question. It's definitely a loaded question. We could spend the rest of the session on this. The two biggest things I would say is you have to understand what type of business you want to build. I'm not saying you have to understand exactly what your business is going to look like in 5 years. At 300, you're just growing, you're just getting your feet underneath you. You don't even know what you want necessarily out of it in specifics, but I would say don't let that stop you from establishing like, hey, here's who I am as a person, and this is what I want the business to be. This is the tool that I want the business to be in my life moving forward. And I work with people kind of who are all over the place. Like I have a couple clients. I have one client who's 100%. There's like, we're going to 100 million and we're going to have X number of locations. I'm like, I actually think you are. Like the way they talk, like they believe it. It's what they want. And they have other clients who are, hey, we're at the $3 million mark. We're totally happy here. We want to get super profitable. We want to make an amazing place for our team. Both totally valid, awesome goals. But the closer you have to an understanding of where you're going with it, will really help your the in-between decisions, because you're making those day in and day out. And if you have that clear goal in the future, it guides and informs all those much better than I could give you, piece of advice now. Something we do with our team, and we do this actually with our foreman as kind of like an exercise on planning and like working towards a goal and having a plan for the day, but it still applies here. You were in our warehouse. It's not huge, but it's whatever, 30 yards across. So like 100 feet across. And we have this exercise where we have people stand on one side it's drive through. So there's the garage doors on one side and on the other. And we say, hey, just start here. Okay, now go touch the garage door opener on the other side. And they kind of look at us like we got 3 heads. And they're like, okay. And they just walk across and go touch it. And I'm like, all right, come back. And then we put a blindfold on. It's like, okay, now go touch that again. And what happens that we don't realize is like, if you don't know what you're looking at, you can get super far off course. And that's what happens. Like you send them again, they're like, yeah, they start walking right at it. But then they unknowingly shift a little bit and shift a little bit and shift a little bit. Next thing you know, they're running into the mechanics bench, which is, 20 feet to the side. And I think that's a good analogy for what happens to a lot of people in business is they just kind of start moving, and movement is the feature, right? When in reality, the goal is the feature. The goal should be the feature. And if you don't have one, then kind of anything becomes the goal. Once you establish that and kind of a real clear drive for why you want that, I would say just getting super aggressive. The number one indicator of success that I see in both my team at Local Roots and the clients that I'm privileged to work with is a bias to action. A lot of the stuff that's required to break past that mark, break past that 300, 600 million mark, it is not rocket science. There's so much incredible information out there. There's so much good information out there. It is a bias to action. You have to be willing to actually do it. And that's what I see so much more than like, if I'm going to look at different differentiators between successful people and unsuccessful people, it is very rarely, particularly in the information age, it is very rarely like, oh, they just had better information. They just had access to good information. Dude, we all have access to great information. Like you said, like you can go to listen to Mark Bradley spill his guts for 2 days on exactly how to do this. It is a bias to action and being like faithful to the stuff is actually going to drive your business forward. Time blocking is like that's like one of the biggest things I start with people on, is just doing a time and energy audit. It's like, how am I spending my time? Yeah, I know you're a big advocate of buy back your time, but like using that Eisenhower matrix to be just like, what should I be spending my time on right now? And almost everyone I talk to knows what they should be spending their time on. And if you don't, talk to Brian, talk to me. It's great. It's like, it's not hard stuff, taking that leap, but it's just being willing to do it. It's just being willing to do it and prioritize it on a routine basis. And the people who I'm talking with biweekly or monthly or whatever, who are, every time we come to the meeting, it's like, where'd we go on this? It's like, I didn't get it done this week. I didn't make these calls to all these commercial contracts that I want to land. I just didn't do it this week, but I'm going to get to it next week. Well, what happened? Well, I was busy with this, that, and the next thing. If the urgent is always outweighing the important, then you're not going to move anywhere. And I think that's really chronic to that owner in the field, very engaged, 300 to 600 range is where I see the urgent outweighing the important 9 out of 10 times.
That's a solid line, bro. I wrote that down, by the way. I like that. Where'd you get that one from?
Which one?
The urgent is always, I'll wait in the important, then you'll never get traction is what I wrote down. But yeah.
I don't know. I guarantee you it's not from my brain. Nothing you're going to hear today for everybody didn't start here. I put it here, but it didn't start there.
He's a humble man. Fair enough. Yeah. I love it. I actually, in Mark Bradley's seminar, I just put the photo of my slides. I took 100 photos of 100 slides, but he was saying marketing, operations, and sales. That's what you got to focus on in a level one company. It's like exactly what you just said. You got to focus on those three different areas: build a team, get sales, and start working on processes. It's like so that you don't have enough clay to work with, right? Like you're just him. So that's good stuff, guys. If you ever see these guys at Hardscape North America, Equip Expo, LAL, or maybe a different mastermind or seminar, please run up, say hey, give them a high five, give them a handshake. They're the real deal. So Ken, we'll button up right here, man. Thank you. And let me do this really quick. Where can people find you one more time? I do like to wrap up with that. I know you've plugged a few things, but where can people find you?
Yeah. So I'd be honored. Thanks, Brian, for saying that. And again, just thank you for having me here, man. This has been so much fun. I mean, you've been saying it's been fun for you. It's been awesome for me. And just being asked to be here and LAL, huge honors. And I'm really grateful for that. So Kenneth, just my first name, KENNETH, and that's at forwardcoaching.com, FRWRD coaching.com, or you just go to the website, forwardcoaching.com. And you can schedule an appointment with me through there or shoot me an email, start the conversation. Always happy to chat. Yeah, love getting to know you guys.
Dude, thanks so much, brother. All right, cool. Guys, we'll button up right here. Thank you so much for everybody that's listening in, watching in. If you guys enjoy this, leave a thumbs up, a 5-star, wherever it goes, whatever we all do. And tell more people about the group, and let's pack it out next time for our next guest next month. So, all right, over and out. Ken, catch up with you, brother. Thank you so much. And we'll land the plane here. Thanks again, brother.
Later on, guys. See ya.
All right. See you guys.
With the shorter days upon us and winter rapidly approaching, now is the best time to prepare your business for the busy snow season. Before you rush out the door to plow the first ounce of white gold, ensure a safe and successful evening on your sites with adequate site marking from Plowright. Plowright offers high-quality marking stakes that are flexible enough to spring back up through the toughest of conditions winter has to offer. Mark out your property lines, curbs, trip edge areas, and more with the best marking stakes in the industry. Plowright marking stakes come in all lengths and colors to give you the best choice in marking stakes for your sites. Lay up to 350 stakes per hour with the integrated staking tool and quiver kit for the ultimate starter combo, and refill with additional stakes as you see fit. Check out everything that Plowright has to offer and more at plow-right.com. Link is in the description. And don't forget, Brian's 10 saves 10% off everything site-wide. Thanks for your support, and have a safe, profitable snow season.
You're probably listening to this podcast because you want to get better at the business of lawn care. If you have made the decision to go all in, then the whole ball of wax at LawntrepreneursAcademy.com is the fastest route to starting strong and putting your company in the best position for success. The whole ball of wax is everything Brian Fullerton offers, with a few exceptions, at less than half the price of purchasing every training course, program, and resource individually. When you purchase the whole ball of wax, not only do you get instant access to everything on the site, along with a one-on-one coaching call with Brian, you get lifetime updates to all courses, and when new programs come online, those are yours for free. Pause the podcast, go to LawntrepreneursAcademy.com, click on the store tab, or use the link in the podcast description.
If you've been on the fence about grabbing the whole ball of wax at Lawntrepreneur Academy, here's your opportunity. Get $400 off by using the code SAVE400. This bundle is packed with everything Brian wishes he'd known starting out, and tools he still uses today to grow and run the business. If you're looking to level up, now's a great time to check it out. Remember to use code SAVE400 at checkout, and a link is in the description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, No one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.